Alright, what's going on, dudes, and welcome to Minecraft Snapshot 12W40. Let's go ahead and jump right in with one of the more significant additions, which also happens to be kind of an interesting coincidence. So, just a few days ago, this past Sunday, I put up a video, some of you probably saw it, going over a mod called Flatlands Extension. What the mod did was add a new world type to where it was a super flat world, but you also had things like tall grass, trees, caves, ravines, ores, all that randomly generated stuff that you would normally find in default worlds, but in a super flat world. So, I bet you can take a wild guess as to what's been added in this snapshot. So let's go into Superflat, Customize, and if we now go into the preset menu, you'll notice if we click various different presets, we have these extra flags. So Overworld has the most of them. Stronghold, Biome_1, Village, Decoration, Dungeon, Lake, Mineshaft, Lava Lake. Stronghold specifies you want strongholds to be generated. Biome_1 is either biomes or ores. I'm not entirely sure on that. Village, obviously villages. Decoration is trees, tall grass, so on and so forth. Dungeon, self-explanatory. Lake, mineshaft, lava lake. All self-explanatory. So, if you want to generate your own super flat world, obviously I went over going and specifying what block types you want in the layers last time, or a couple times ago. Now, if you want these various structures generated and or trees, so on and so forth, you just specify which flags you want after you go over the various block types. So, cool new stuff. And there's also a new preset called Redstone Ready, which is just a bunch of sandstone, so it contrasts with the redstone wire nicely. Anyway, with these new structure flags, you can find things like a super flat field with a bunch of tall grass, flowers, pumpkins over in the distance, lava lakes, as well as above ground strongholds. How often you get to see that. This was actually a seed posted on Reddit, so that was very helpful. This is very cool. You got the portal room over here, your fountain, and this actually also continues on underground, so you can head down the steps and go check out the underground portion of it. And it's just a regular stronghold, just happens to be poking out of the ground. Funky above ground library with floating bookshelves and everything, and next to a village as well. So I thought this was pretty cool and wanted to share it. Just one of the many examples of things you can find with the new super flat terrain generation flags that you can play around with. Also got some new features back in regular world, so why don't we jump on over back to that. Now, as you may have expected, after seeing witches added a couple snapshots ago, they've now been given their own little swamp huts. So I'm not sure if all the huts spawn like this over water. Still, it's pretty appropriate given the spawn situation over here. But anyway, witches can spawn naturally in these, and inside you have a levitating cauldron and workbench. I'm not sure whether or not that was intentional. I think it might have been a little bug, and they'll probably be put down on the ground next time, but you could simply interpret it as witches making things levitate with witchcraft, so that works too. I also got some mushrooms in the windowsills, and yeah, so this is where you can find witches naturally from now on. Now new to swamps, in addition to witch huts, at night you can find slimes. So the slime spawning mechanics have been changed so that now they will spawn naturally in swamplands at nighttime, which, needless to say, makes it much easier to collect slime balls and or find a pet Jerry of your own, even though he won't be as good as Jerry because no slime will ever be. But anyway, they have this nasty tendency of drowning themselves, like this guy, so he'll probably just keep splitting into smaller and smaller slimes until they've all died from drowning. Anyway, you can collect as many slime balls as you want for sticky pistons, or whatever you use your slime balls for. So on more of an unfortunate note, it looks like the lighting engine that was implemented in 12W39, the last snapshot, has actually been reverted to the way it was 12W38 and before that. Apparently there were some unforeseen difficulties with it, so it's being pushed out into 1.5, I think. So for the time being, the stuff that I went over in the last snapshot is no longer applicable, and you may be running into these black spots once again. Finally, just a few minor changes to note, starting off with the fact that the beacon block and beam have been retextured once again. Now it looks like a little mini diamond block surrounded by glass with a big snake pillar thing coming out of it. I don't even know. All I know is it looks really trippy when you stand inside it. So, anyway, there's that. Also the fact that now doors, levers, buttons, hatches, so on and so forth, you can only interact with them with a right click. Obviously, it's always been this way in creative, but in survival, you were able to interact with a left click. That works no longer. And I would assume the purpose of that is so that if you're playing survival, you don't get in the habit of using a left click and then go into creative afterwards and be like, oops, I just broke my door instead of using it. Also, the fact that it makes it easier to destroy things like wooden doors, because previously you'd punch it and it would instantly go to the other position, and you'd be like, oops, I'm no longer hitting it anymore. So it would just be kind of annoying. Anyway, I think it's a very nice change, and might take some getting used to for certain individuals, but in the long run should be pretty helpful. So anyway, there's that. Now finally, just a couple changes to the way inventory works in creative. If you want to put any of these items in a certain spot in your hotbar, say you want to put 64 oak leaves in slot number 5, what you can actually do is hit 5 while you're hovering over oak leaves, and it'll just appear. Similarly, say we want a stack of jungle wood planks in our 9th slot. We just hit 9 while we're over the jungle wood planks, and it gives it to us instantly. So that has been changed as well. Additionally, you can now also shift-click items when you're in your survival menu in creative. So shift-clicking will no longer destroy your items. It will simply transfer them back and forth. So that's also very nice, because I know I deleted lots and lots of items before by shift-clicking them when you couldn't. So that's very helpful. Anyway, that's about it for this snapshot. I hope you've enjoyed watching. If you have, a rating would be much appreciated. Other than that, thanks for stopping by, and I'll see you all next time.